Story 1. I feel like I am just collecting a paycheck without being fully engaged at work. I do not want to be influenced by your ego. I simply want to complete my tasks and go home. Story 2. A couple of things. Adult bullies. Silent treatment. Please communicate like an adult. People who think you have to be social. People whose personality changes when they are with you versus when someone else is around. Story 3. Generational language. I have to search for things constantly because I always forget what the phrases and words mean, presumably because they are so strange my brain refuses to remember them. Skibbity that. Story 4. Drinking and fighting, whether physical or verbal, are unpleasant. Hangovers are terrible and fighting is even worse. Now I simply relax, enjoy a gummy, and prepare my meals. Story 5. I am done with other people's opinions. I will no longer tiptoe around others' feelings, as they did not consider mine. Story 6. If you work in customer service, specifically in the food industry, and as a cashier, you might encounter teenagers who are loud and try to be funny to attract attention. This can be annoying and make you feel uncomfortable, reminding you that you may be too mature for such attention-seeking behavior. Story 7. Downtown bars and clubs offer occasional live bands or DJs, but it's more suited for a younger crowd. Drinks are expensive, it's crowded, and if I drink too much, I have to worry about transportation. I'd prefer to spend time with my friends and relax on a couch. Story 8. Concerts. In my 20s and 30s, I would attend shows regularly, but now I find them too loud, too crowded, too smelly, too expensive, and too late. Story 9. Lies. In our old age, will you honestly remember that forever? I will certainly remember what you said. Story 10. Probably daydreaming. It's either like being a mysterious hero, having certain powers, or just wacky scenarios that involve me being cool. Funnily enough, in real life, if I try to act cool, I always mess up and end up looking like a joke instead. I admit that it's getting childish. Story 11. YouTubers, streamers, influencers, and TikTok creators. I'm only 29, but I just cannot see the appeal. There's only one YouTube channel I watch because the host uploads a news-type video once a week about the gaming industry. He also creates other personal content like gameplay videos and unboxings, but I don't find that appealing. A good friend of mine is a TikTok creator, and I'm glad he's finding success and seems happy. However, I cannot understand why someone would spend their time watching that. I'm happy for him, though. He's doing great. As for streamers, I don't understand why you would watch someone else play a game instead of playing it yourself. People say there's a sense of community or personality involved, but it seems like they are just putting on personas for attention. I have no interest in watching someone else engage in their hobby while acting. Story 12. At 30, I decided that I would no longer have a drink or shot with the word bomb in the title. This decision has served me well. Story 13. People who talk but never say anything, especially at work, can be frustrating. If I ask a question, please answer it clearly and concisely. Story 14. Trying to be relevant. As I age, I keep hearing about how we must stay relevant. Relevant to whom exactly and to what? I am quite sure I have been an outlier my entire life, sometimes by nature and sometimes by choice. If I have not been relevant before, why bother now? Story 15. Overpaying for low-quality fast food. Yet Generation Z loves having a cold meal from Jack in the Box delivered to them for $30. Story 16. Mega politics. Honestly, these individuals are frustrating. Being conservative is one thing, but the gleeful destruction of our country both internally and internationally is misguided. Story 17. Hearing or reading tirades on any platform, where the person believes they have some revelation that others must hear, reminds me of when I said the exact same thing myself 20 or 30 years ago, thinking it was a revelation that people needed to hear. Story 18. I have experienced that. Now I find it embarrassing when 40-year-olds and young people always want to fight over trivial matters like women and name-calling. Story 19. Celebrities who won various contests often end up engaging in the same outrageous behavior that initially made them famous. My favorite celebrity once said, "And who cares? Good old Ruby Rod." Story 20. Bro, when I drop something on the floor, My body sounds like everything is cracking when I pick it up, even if I bend my knees. Story 21. Influencers. I just don't understand why 99% of them have even one follower. I'm shocked to see they have thousands or more, like the Cash Me Outside girl. Story 22. This situation in America has been challenging. I finally found a good rhythm in the past few years, and the current reality shows in the United States are disheartening. Story 23. I'm too old for this. I'm too old for all of it. Story 24. Relationships can be confusing. I'm married, but the stories my friends share about dating are astounding. What do you mean you've been dating for 2 years and you still don't know your status? You dated someone for 3 months and he simply stopped responding to your texts? Please stop seeing the guy who is pressuring you into being intimate faster than you are comfortable with. I don't think he's worth fighting for, and his looks don't excuse his behavior. I don't know what has happened to dating, but it's disheartening. I've already decided that if something happens to my husband, I am not willing to go through what my friends have experienced. Story 25. Caring about celebrities, idolizing them, and being let down when they are unsavory people can lead to having strong opinions about them. Story 26. Spinning around in place. I remember spinning in place when I was a child multiple times and feeling dizzy. Now, when I do it more than twice, I create a new state that I cannot explain. Story 27. Crowds. As a young man, I would see pictures of events like Mardi Gras in New Orleans or large music festivals and think about how awesome it would be to be there. Now, I see those same kinds of pictures and think about how miserable I would be at those exact same events. Story 28. Fashion, celebrity topics, going out to clubs and bars, and dealing with people who see me as a shoulder to cry on. Story 29. Social media. Apart from this anonymous platform for discussing real issues and entertainment with others, contrasts sharply with other forms of social media where individuals compete to gather the most connections and followers. They frequently post curated aspects of their lives in an attempt to appear happier and more successful than others, often aided by photo filters. Story 30. Snowboarding. I haven't done it in years and I feel too old to start again. The last time I went, I finished shortly before 1 p.m. after my lunch break. It was no longer enjoyable. My legs were burning and I was ready to leave. Story 31. Anyone else's problems. I'm all for helping a friend or family member, but it won't sit on the back of my mind either. Your business is yours, and my business is mine. Story 32. I was informed that I was being demoted partly because a specific new person stays open to close. It is known around the workplace that she does this because she is facing difficulties at home. I was in her position 10 years ago, but I am older now, tired, and I have a car. Now I have to get her signature to confirm that I completed my work before I can go home, with no exceptions. I might have quit tonight. I will find out when I call in sick tomorrow. Story 33. Friend group dramas. We're not in high school anymore. Can we stop arguing over trivial matters, please? I'm so over it. Story 34. Outdoor concerts, casual relationships, online dating, moving further than 500 miles from home, the upper class, going out to bars and clubs, grocery shopping during peak hours, traffic, documenting life on social media, and petty individuals. Story 35. Concerts, plays, and sporting events at night disrupt my entire week when I get home at 10:30 or 11 o'clock. The traffic and crowds associated with these events add to the stress. I often book a hotel on weekends just to avoid the hassle. Story 36. Everything happening right now feels overwhelming. As an older millennial, I have experienced significant historical events throughout my adult life. Story 37. New language, especially new abbreviations in casual conversation with no other context, can be confusing. There are some I couldn't even Google to figure out. We used to laugh at parents not understanding what laughing my ass off actually means, or that laughing out loud can be interpreted as lots of love. And now my time has come. Story 38. I just turned 50 and it's true. The older you get, the less you care about what others think. Swimming at a hotel and you have a gut? Who cares? Shirt off. It's pool time. Story 39. I skinned my knee last summer and it hurt for 2 weeks. It was the first time I had skinned my knee as an adult, and it hurt more than it used to. When I was a child, I brushed myself off, and it felt like nothing had happened. Taking the bandage off was the worst because it stuck to my skin. I was intoxicated the night before, so my balance was a little off in the morning, and I fell flat on the pavement. Story 40. Jealousy and envy involve worrying about other people's opinions of you. I love getting older. It's the best mental health improvement ever. Story 41. Being awake for over 24 hours straight. I got caught in a snowstorm a couple of days ago and ended up staying awake for around 36 hours. I have had over 20 hours of sleep over 2 nights since then, and I am still tired. Story 42. Roller coasters. I was in my early 50s and took the kids to Knott's Berry Farm. We went on the wooden roller coaster. It shook me and made me hurt for hours afterward. I decided that I was too old for that. Story 43. Mean girls left a friend group I had for years because they started being cliquish and strange. I'm too old for that. Story 44. I have been too old for drinking since I was 20. The drinking age in the United States is 21, but I went to a party, drank too much, vomited all night, and I have never drunk heavily since. I will have a glass of wine every couple of weeks, but hard liquor is not for me. Story 45. Passive-aggressive behavior and comments can be frustrating. I am too old to try to decipher someone's inability to communicate proactively. Story 46. Waiting in line for clubs is common. I also feel that I am too old for economy class on flights longer than 5 hours, but that's more of a personal preference. Story 47. Any music about going out to the club and dancing the night away or doing something until the sun comes up does not interest me. If I am in bed after 10:15 p.m., I am fully aware that I am harming myself. Story 48. 50-year-olds who are still into gossip and drama. One of my former coworkers speaks as if she is in a high school clique. It is so embarrassing. Story 49. Waiting for everyone's food to arrive at the same time to eat can be frustrating. I often tell others to bring out their food as soon as it's ready, regardless of whose it is. I do the same at home. I cook while others often wait for the food to be done. If I say, the food should be done in 2 to 3 minutes, and someone decides to come out in 10 minutes, I won't be surprised if I'm already eating. Whenever the food is ready, just go ahead and eat. There is often pushback from people like my girlfriend or in large groups, but at this point, I don't mind. We all want our food hot, and we are all gathered together at that moment. Someone eating 2 minutes before someone else isn't going to cause a problem. Additionally, I often eat dessert first because I can take food home. Story 50. Decorating your home or dressing to keep up with trends is important. Social media, such as Reddit, is acceptable, but if it introduces a paywall, I will no longer use it. Everything in our lives seems to demand an app, subscription, or QR code scan. Story 51. Being mistreated by employers reached a limit for me about 10 years ago when a job attempted to reprimand me for wearing sunglasses while operating a company vehicle. I looked at the document, then at the supervisor and said, "I'm sorry, but I don't sign those. It's a personal policy. I haven't signed a reprimand slip since." Story 52. People who do not take accountability for their actions and blame everything on their emotions, essentially individuals who claim to experience limerence. Story 53. Bitter people. I know life can be difficult. I have certainly experienced worse than most. However, I still look for reasons to smile and enjoy the little things that make life worthwhile. Story 54. Clubbing. My partner is a few years younger and still goes from time to time. The music is too loud, drinks are too expensive, there are too many people, I dislike the dress code, and the overwhelming number of intoxicated individuals can be quite annoying. Story 55. Dealing with my difficult family. I often say that even if I could live forever, I still wouldn't have time for their nonsense. I can't be bothered dealing with unpleasant people. I don't want to waste another second. The same applies to others. I can't be bothered wasting another second. Story 56. Pretending I am having a good time when I am not. If I am not, I will go home, where I have good times and restful sleeps. Story 57. The major issues have already been addressed. Sitting on the floor and getting back up is quite a challenge, and afterward, my back hurts. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.